To those of you joining our presentation virtually today, let me introduce myself. My name is David Young, past president and chairman of the Roswell Rotary Club Memorial Day Committee. On behalf of Roswell Rotary President Lynn Lindsay, the Roswell Rotary Board of Directors, and the City of Roswell, let me welcome you to today's Memorial Day presentation. For 22 consecutive years, the Roswell Rotary Club and the City of Roswell have partnered to produce an annual ceremony incorporating the holiday, families, and the community into one great day of remembrance. The recent pandemic prevented us from enjoying a live ceremony in 2020, but we as a club determined in 2021 a ceremony was necessary to continue our dedication to honoring those men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our country. To continue our remembrance, Roswell Rotary is proud to present a best of the best archived video from the year 2011. The 2011 ceremony features Captain Donna Rowe, retired Army, who served as the head nurse and the ER triage area in Saigon, Vietnam in 1968-1969. Captain Rowe took on the task of saving a Vietnamese baby's life after being found barely alive in her dead mother's arms. Given the name Kathleen by Captain Rowe, the two were reunited at Fort Sam Houston, Texas in 2003. Her story is featured in the Kathleen Story, a permanent segment at the American History Museum, and Donna and baby Kathleen are also featured in the documentary The Shadow of the Blade, which can still be seen on the Military and Discovery channels. At this time, let me thank you once again for joining us for our archived presentation of Roswell Remembers Memorial Day 2011.
Look at the weather we've got today. It's a beautiful day for the 2011 Memorial Day celebration here on City Hall grounds in Roswell, Georgia. We don't come today to grieve for our fallen, we come to honor them. If you would be so kind, please stand for the presentation of colors and remain standing for the national anthem and our Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please join me? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Would you please join me in the pledge to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Beautiful job, pipers. Chattahoochee Celtic pipes and drums. Color Guard as well. Thank you very much for your service today. So glad you're here today, and we'll always ask the Lord's blessing on any time we gather in these numbers, and for this reason. Reverend Malone Dodson, would you please lead us in the invocation?
Well, it helps when you work together as a team. The Baptist, Presbyterian, Methodist, the Catholics, and the Jews had prayer meeting during the night to make sure we had a beautiful day, and it works. There are two people we want to recognize today before we have the prayer. We want to recognize 1st Marine Lieutenant Scott Fleming, one of our own boys. Scott gave his life September the 17th at age 24 while supporting combat operations in Afghanistan. His unit was conducting the pre-election security known as Operation Enduring Freedom when he was struck by enemy small arms fire. Scott Fleming had been a student at Blessed Trinity High School here in Roswell. He then went on to LaGrange College and got a degree in education, and he joined the Marines. Scott Fleming was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery with full military honors. He is survived by his father and mother and sister who are here today. Would you join me in letting them know how much we appreciate him? Stand, please. Be seated. The other person we want to remember is Dan L. Titus, a loyal supporter of the Roswell Memorial Day ceremony. He passed away March the 3rd. Dan was a Vietnam veteran and went to Antarctica in the Coast Guard, retired from the U.S. Navy and Lockheed. Dan was an accomplished bagpiper with many awards over the decade. He played the bagpipe for 42 years with local pipe bands for military ceremonies such as this, and also for the USS Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor. Dan served as a Coast Guard and Navy service representative in the Roswell Memorial Day ceremonies for the past 12 years. Attending today, daughter Emily Titus Long, son-in-law Jacob Long, and 2 granddaughters. Would you stand? The Long family. Thank you. Be seated. Let's pray. Oh God, we thank you that we can remember those who have served faithfully and loyally. We thank you that we have people who help us secure our country from the outside and from within. Help us to keep our core values of honesty and civic responsibility and strengthening our communities by voting and doing good. We owe so much to so many. We want peace, but we are resolved to fight for freedom. Help us this day to celebrate for those who have gone before us and kept us free. In the name of our Lord, everybody said, Amen.
Thank you, Malone Dodson. I didn't know till yesterday that Dan Titus had passed away, and I just want the family to know I grieve for him, but I honor him, just like we do for all the other veterans that have gone on. We're not here to grieve them. We are here to honor them, and God bless them all as God bless America. You look out amongst all the red, white, and blue, the wear, the clothing everybody has on. You look great. I was torn this morning whether to wear my white shirt with my flag suspenders or to wear my Cracker Barrel shirt. The Cracker Barrel shirt won, and as I was walking in here today, I looked at one old boy. I said, "You eat at Cracker Barrel too, don't you?" He said, "I love it." Had on the same shirt. We're here at, you can always count on Jerry Wood to have the bow tie, and he doesn't disappoint today. We're here at Jerry's house today, Roswell City Hall, and if the mayor would come forward and give us some opening and welcoming remarks, that would be appreciated. Jerry?
Thank you, Moby. Welcome to Roswell's Memorial Day celebration. On the last day of May every year, we come here to remember those who have died defending our country and to thank all of those who have served in our military. Today, I want to remember Captain Robert Linton Reeves, the U.S. Army. I stopped here on the way this morning by his memorial. It was actually the first memorial to Vietnam in Roswell. I want to thank the American Legion Post for introducing me to that and maintaining that. Captain Reeves grew up in Roswell. He was president of the Roswell High graduating class in 1959. He was the first graduate from Roswell High to attend the U.S. Air Force Academy. And he is the only person from Roswell whose name appears on the Vietnam Memorial Wall. Captain Reeves died on February 26, 1968, in Din Tong Province from wounds received from a mortar attack at age 26. Roswell remembers Captain Reeves and the men and women who served with him in Vietnam, and all of the men and women who have served before and who are continuing to serve our country and defending our freedom and our way of life. We thank them.
Thank you, Mayor Wood. You know, it's never hard to get this gentleman to come because he is such a fine and proud member of this community, and he carries the banner of all of us to Washington, D.C. to fight those lame brains up there. Dang it, I said I wouldn't be partisan. Okay, that's as bad as it's going to get. But if you would please, join me in welcoming Congressman Tom Price. Tom.
Thank you, Moby. Moby was right. Y'all look great. What a wonderful and beautiful day it is. Gorgeous Memorial Day here in Roswell 2011. Thank you all so much for coming out. You know, when I was a kid, we used to sing a song entitled Freedom Isn't Free. And I'm not going to sing it for you because you don't want to hear me do that. But the chorus of that song was profoundly simple. Freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't free. You got to pay a price. You got to sacrifice for your liberty. And it is that price and that sacrifice for which we gather today. In the last year, 22 Georgians in uniform have paid the ultimate price for our freedom. 191 Georgians have laid down their lives for us in Iraq and Afghanistan. Yes, freedom is not free. Our responsibility here today and every day is to honor those brave Americans who gave what Lincoln called the last full measure of devotion to the cause of liberty. Since the founding of our nation, Americans have fought and died to preserve our cherished freedoms. Thousands of fellow Americans are actively engaged in a war zone today. Their sacrifice and that of their families we remember. The work and the sacrifice ought to be remembered every single day. Their job, in addition to protecting us, is to bring justice to evil. And the expertise and the talent and the commitment of our brave men and women in the armed services and in the intelligence community is unimaginable. A few short weeks ago, justice was visited upon Osama bin Laden, an enemy of freedom and liberty and morality. And the world was reminded on that day that we never forget. I can't tell you how proud each and every one of you should feel about the incredible bravery and incredible valor demonstrated by our sons and daughters on that mission. Now, this doesn't mean that the war on terror is over, but this was absolutely essential in order for us to move forward. So today we honor our fallen soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines and Coast Guardsmen, and we do so with a deep sense of celebration of their lives and a deep sense of gratitude. General George Patton once insisted that it is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived. And yes, we do. We thank God for the lives of those men and women. William James said, "The greatest use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it." And David Webster said, "Those things which are precious are only saved by sacrifice." And ladies and gentlemen, freedom is precious. We also gather here today in a day in time when our liberty, our freedom, may be threatened as much from within as from without. And our commitment to freedom, in opposition to terror or tyranny, must be no different. The providential nature of America and our system of governance is undeniable. And so we must, as a community and as a state and as a nation, renew our commitment to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, those rights bestowed upon us by our Creator. And those who have died to defend our liberty and our freedom have given us the gift of inspiration, the inspiration to serve a cause greater than ourselves, to dedicate ourselves in whatever way we are able to ensure that our posterity, our children, and our grandchildren may continue what Reagan called the last best hope for the world. And it is this determination and this resolve, it's the very least that we can do to begin to repay our debt to those having lost their lives to protect our liberty and our opportunity. May we be worthy of their sacrifice. May God bless all of those who have served and are serving so that America may remain this beacon of freedom to the world. May God bless you and your family and our great nation, and may He give us the wisdom and the courage to recognize the battle and to engage in a manner that would do honor to those we honor today. Thank you so very much.
It's time for the laying of the wreath. The memorial Faces of War, that monument, is a gift to the city of Roswell, given in honor of all who honorably served their country during the Vietnam War, and the families who supported them, the living, the dead, the wounded, the missing, and those held captive in mind, body, and soul. Those who served during the Vietnam War represented the best traditions of our country. Let this memorial serve as a reminder of the love, sacrifice, and dedication to duty of those who served, dedicated this day, Memorial Day, May 30th, 1995, by Roswell Vietnam War Memorial Committee, Roswell, Georgia. We have with us today many of the original committee members who raised the funds and helped design this memorial. As you are able, original committee members, will you please stand when your name is called? They were Wesley McCann, Marshall Lichtenstein, Michael Sullivan, Jerry Cottrell, Dan Brown III, Chris Clark, Al Leland, Sherman McDade, John Palmer, Neil Robertson, Scott Cuthbert, Tim Finnerty, Bill Hobbs, George Nelson, Dave Schaefer, Buffy Schaefer. Those are the original committee members, and with your show of applause. Laying the wreath today, Susan Price is the mother of Gunnery Sergeant Aaron M. Kinnifick, a native of Williamsville, New York, a quarterback for his high school football team. He also excelled at basketball and baseball. In the 10th grade, he and his mother, Susan, moved to the Atlanta, Georgia area, and Aaron joined the United States Marines following graduation from Roswell High School in '98. In Aaron's 12-year career in the Marines, he was twice named Marine of the Year. In 2001, Aaron was stationed in Germany, followed by humanitarian missions in Africa. Returning to America, Aaron attended Army Airborne School at Fort Benning, graduating as a Distinguished Honor Graduate. Assigned to Central Command in Tampa, he toured several times in Iraq. Supporting his fellow soldiers, Aaron earned a Purple Heart, taking shrapnel during a firefight a few days before his death. Aaron was killed with 3 other Marines in an ambush in Afghanistan, 18 September 2009 in the Kunar province. Aaron was assigned to 3rd Combat Assault Battalion, 3rd Marine Division, 3rd Marine Expeditionary Force, Okinawa, Japan. Susan is an active member of Gold Star Mothers. God bless her. Susan is escorted today by First Sergeant William Midiu, U.S. Army. First Sergeant Midiu has served a total of 23 years in both the United States Navy and Army. Bill entered the United States Navy in 1987. He served with the Navy Special Warfare Unit until July '93. Upon entering the Army, served with F Company, 51st Ranger Long-Range Surveillance with an immediate deployment to Somalia. First Sergeant Midiu has served his entire Army career with various special ops units, including JFK Special Warfare Central, WINSEC, and 7th Special Forces Group. He has served honorably on a total of 14 combat deployments. 14 combat deployments, including most recently 1 deployment to Afghanistan, 4 deployments to Iraq. Currently, First Sergeant Midiu is post commander for Roswell VFW Post 7583 and founder of the Warrior Service Center, a prototype example of how our military, the VFW, and American Legion will care for our troops, our wounded warriors, and their families in the 21st century. Military escorts today from the United States Army, Sergeant Major E. Joseph Sanders. From the Marine Corps, Sergeant Mans Towery. First Sergeant Midiu, would you please remain standing? It isn't in the script, but I want to share something with you. You know, the humility of a real American hero, the aw shucks mentality of somebody that goes and stands ready and committed to give everything is the finest that America can offer. That's First Sergeant William Midiu, and he would never brag about himself. And since he would never brag about himself, would you allow me a minute of personal privilege to brag about my friend Bill Midiu? Bill Midiu, on his last deployment, was riding behind this big panel truck in a Humvee, 3 or 4 other Humvees behind him, riding shotgun, when that big panel delivery truck blew up. Yes, it was an improvised explosive device. And if you see the YouTube video of that explosion and know that Midiu was in the vehicle right behind it, the vehicle in which the driver died, and so many other people gave it all that day. Midiu woke up on the USS Mercy, came home, and then joined not the American Legion, the BFW, and then combined the forces of the VFW with the American Legion, realizing that we're getting so many amputees, so many severe brain trauma patients back. The VA can't keep up. As hard as they might try, they can't give our soldiers returning from combat these days when technology and they were able to save so many more now that would have died before triage in Vietnam. Bill Midiu is an American hero. He'll never say that about himself, but if you'll join me in a round of applause for that hero and let him know how much we appreciate him. And God bless you, William Midiu. Now you can sit down, soldier. Oh, big old Midiu, oh shucks. Great man. We'd like to ask for all POWs that are here with us today to please stand. Make yourself known. Would you please, war heroes? There's some here today. POWs, those that were MIA, will you please stand and be recognized? There is an MIA POW to the left of the memorial, and leave us never to forget the sacrifice that they made. Now let me bring to the stage David Young of Roswell Rotary and co-chair of Memorial Day Committee. David?
Thank you, Moby. On behalf of the Roswell Rotary Club, I want to thank the City of Roswell, the Roswell Parks Department, Roswell Public Safety, Roswell Public Works, and the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We could not do our ceremony every year without that partnership. Secondly, I'd like to thank our committee, especially Ms. Bobby Daniels, my co-chair, and if you see a committee member today in this shirt, please thank them for their volunteer efforts in this production. It's my extreme pleasure today to introduce our guest speaker, Captain Donna Rowe, who entered the U.S. Army in 1964 through the Student Nurse Corps program, ROTC, and was commissioned second lieutenant February of '66. Captain Rowe received her basic training at Fort Sam Houston with assignments at Brooke Army Medical Center in Fort Sam Houston, Womack Army Hospital, Fort Bragg, DeWitt Army Hospital, Port Belvoir, with attachment to Walter Reed Army Hospital, Washington, D.C. She served as head nurse, ER triage area in Saigon at 3rd Field Hospital, 1968-69, and was promoted to captain June 1968. Her decorations include Vietnam Service Ribbon and the Army Commendation Medal. Captain Donna Rowe was honorably discharged June 1969. Donna is married to retired Colonel Al Rowe, and they have 2 sons, Richard and John. Donna has worked as a real estate broker since 1983, presently with Colwell Banker, and was awarded Realtor of the Year in Cobb County in 1989, 92, and 97, and she is a member of the First United Methodist Church in Marietta. Donna has served her community in many organizations, including the American Red Cross, Georgia Homeland Security, Diabetes Association, Georgia Vietnam Veterans Alliance, as a director, Georgia Vietnam Business Association, CASA for Abused Children, and the Atlanta Regional Commission. Donna was most recently featured in the Kathleen Story segment of the World Film Festival's award-winning Vietnam documentary In the Shadow of the Blade, released on Veterans Day 2004. In the film, which can still be seen on the Military and Discovery channels, it depicts Captain Rowe and another Atlanta area soldier, the late medic Richard Hock, saving a Vietnamese baby's life after being found barely alive in her dead mother's arms. Given the name Kathleen by Captain Rowe, the two were reunited at Fort Sam Houston in 2003, arriving in the same type Huey helicopter that delivered her to Captain Rowe's triage unit in Saigon, May 15, '69. The Kathleen Story segment has been selected by the Smithsonian Institute to run on permanent display in their American History Museum, and the premiere of In the Shadow of the Blade was selected as the keynote event for the Ronald Reagan Library's 2009 Veterans Day celebration. Captain Donna Rowe.
Thank you, David. Well, here I am. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I want you to know I brought my cheering squad with me today. I call them my groupies, but it is an honor for me to be up here on the stage with Congressman Price, who had to go on to another function. Also, Mayor Wood, it's my honor to be here with you. And of course, it's always an honor to have Moby do my warm-up. Got too hot to the mic. Okay. I understand from several of the people that I just got through talking to in the reception that this has been going on for 13 years, 14 years, and I am the first woman. And I hope I do so well that you'll invite back another woman. Because there's a lot of us that have served our country, and I appreciate the recognition of the females who have gone to war. Thank you very much. When I first started to write the remarks I'm going to talk to you about today, I thought that it was more than 50 years ago that I was asked by our town leaders in this small little New England town to recite the Gettysburg Address that Abraham Lincoln had penned on the back of an envelope. I stood there on Memorial Day, a 12-year-old scared child amongst all these dignitaries, and read or recited from memory the Gettysburg Address. And today, those words still ring in my heart and in my ears. The words that we here highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain. The movie I'm in the Shadow of the Blade, only tells one small chapter of the history of our many countrymen and women who have fought and died for our freedom. I came here today not just to tell you my story. My story is the Vietnam vet's story. And I stand before you today a proud Vietnam vet. I came to tell you the story not only of the men and the women I served with, but I'm here to tell you the story of those who have gone before us, those who are fighting now, and God only knows will have to defend us and our precious freedoms years down the road. Paying respect to these war heroes comes easily to me, and I pay homage to those who died because, you see, I have touched the black body bags of death in war. I have seen the injuries. I have seen the blood and the mud and the screams of war. My husband Al and I have personal sacrifice. Members of our wedding party were killed in Vietnam. And so I come to you as a Vietnam nurse, and just so you'll know, there's 8 Army nurses' names on the wall in Washington, D.C. So the nurses gave all also. But they held this because, and they did this because of the freedoms you and I hold dear. Now, who were and who are these men and women that serve our beloved nation? The Kathleen story in the movie best tells the true story of the Vietnam vets and those who didn't come home from that war. But you know, in all honesty, the Kathleen story tells the story of all our sons and daughters who have gone to war. I'm going to briefly tell you the Kathleen story. It is poignant. It is meaningful. It tells who we really are. May 15th, 1969. We are in the middle of the May Offensive. I have 8 full helicopters on the way to my triage. And when I say full, we used to count 8 to 10 per chopper. Sometimes it was less, and believe me, sometimes those dust-off pilots put on more. But I had 8 full coming at me. I already had 20 on the ground. And our radio squawked and it gave a tail number I had never heard before from this dust-off pilot. And it was tail number 191. He was way out of his range, and he had come a long way to get to me. And this is what he said, and it came across crackly on the radio as Sergeant Grant, my NCOIC, was at the mic. And it said, "Need immediate permission to land. Have severely wounded civilian baby on board. Need to land now." Now, ladies and gentlemen, we were in an offensive. And during an offensive, you have to watch your supplies. So in order to watch your supplies, you categorize your patients. U.S. military first, U.S. civilians second, Allied forces third, host country military fourth, and last was host country civilian because they had their own hospitals. I turned to Sergeant Grant, and I remembered the words of my mother, who was a great patriot. And she said to me as she sent Al and I off to Vietnam, she said, "Donna, do what is right." And that words came to me as I turned to Sergeant Grant, and I said to him, "Tell 3 and 4 to pull away, let him come into Hotel 3, which was our helipad." Sergeant Grant looked at me and he said, "Captain, you're going to take hell for this." And I looked at him and said, "What can they do, send us to Vietnam?" I had a true short-timer's attitude. I was about to rotate out in 4 weeks, and I was really on my short-timer's calendar. We had a helipad that had to be landed. Our ambulances had to go out and pick up the patients to bring them to us. We had too many wires across the triage area. When the back of that ambulance opened, and Specialist Greer stepped out and said this to me, it hit me like a bolt of lightning. He said, "Captain, we had to break the mother's arms. They've completely wiped out her whole village. She is the only survivor." That little tiny baby fit from here to here. My men and I worked on her. I grabbed the Catholic chaplain as we were rushing her to surgery. I am not Catholic, I'm a good Methodist. My father's a good Catholic. But I knew that if Father Sullivan baptized this baby, that the Catholic orphanage would take her because she had no village. Or, in my belief, she would go to heaven. So Father Sullivan, running along with us along this gurney, running down the hallway to the OR, put his hand on her head, and he said, "I baptize thee." And he looked at me, and I said, "Name her Kathleen." Al and I were going to have Kathleen Heather Rowe. I gave her that name. Thankfully, because I ended up with John, Peter, and Richard. Kathleen survived. She had to go to the orphanage because we had no place to keep her in this military hospital. My men were fantastic to her. She went to the orphanage, I came home. 30 years later, they're doing a film on the documentary of the Huey helicopter. My husband's the president of the Georgia Vietnam Vets. We were invited to be there by Craig Hahnemann, who's a dust-off pilot who's in your audience today. And because I was there, they turned and they said, once they found out I was an Army nurse, they found that rather strange. They hadn't seen many of us around the world. He said, "Do you have pictures?" I had the picture of me holding the baby that our embedded reporter had given me before I left Vietnam. The AJC printed the story. It was taped into the movie. And a year later, I got a call from the producer saying, "Are you sitting down? Someone wants to talk to you." And I said, "Well, who is it?" And she said, "It's the baby." 34 years later, this child, now a woman, was adopted by an American Navy nurse, male, who took care of the Marines, brought her home to California, and she still wanted to know about those people on her baptismal certificate. And she found us all, and that's the story of baby Kathleen. But that story dispels everything the press said about the Vietnam vets. We were not baby killers. We were the best that could be put to work. So I go out and speak about this for my fellow vets. Because when we came home, we weren't welcomed home. But now you're doing a pretty good job of it, and I want to commend you on it. Thank you for what you do. Now, these veterans of Vietnam, the veterans of World War II, World War I, Korea, Afghanistan, Desert Storm, all came from us. They came from the fields and the mountains of Georgia. They came from the hills of Utah. They came, as my husband did, from the banks of the Mississippi. And yes, they even came from small New England towns where I was raised. We are, and always have been, these military brothers and sisters, the best our country could ever put forward. We believe in the American creed, which ends by saying, "I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support the Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic." That's who we are. These heroes that we honor today have fought on in just my lifetime. I'm not going to tell you exactly how long that is, but in just my lifetime, I have experienced World War II, where they fought from Normandy to the jungles of Bataan, and today we're honoring the 400,000 that gave their lives during World War II. We fought on for freedom also in Korea, from the frozen grounds of the Chosun Reservoir. The Korean War, we lost 54,246 American men and women. And then in my war, from Nha Trang Valley to the Tet Offensive, on that wall in Washington, D.C., that granite black wall is engraved the names of 58,232 men and women who died in Vietnam. Our sons and daughters marched forward from Vietnam. They went on to Desert Storm, Somalia, and now, today, in Iraq, the cities of Iraq, and the mountains of Afghanistan, where today our country's best men and women are fighting the deadly threats of rogue powers and networks of extremists who have utter contempt and hatred for human life and the freedoms that you and I hold dear. The price of freedom many times is war, and the sacrifice is death. But the blood of heroes never dies. Memorial Day means more to me than a barbecue, a great car deal, a mattress sale, a day at the beach, or the beginning of summer. And by your presence here today, it means more to you too. General John Logan first proclaimed Memorial Day in May 1869, and he reminded us as a nation in that proclamation that we must take care of our widows and orphans of war. We owe a debt of gratitude to the Gold Star families who must live on. We give you our best gratitude. We must observe this day and actively remember our ancestors, our family members, our loved ones, our neighbors, our friends who gave all so you and I could be here and be free. We all lead busy lives, rushing here and there. But today, together, we are here in Roswell. We have taken the time to honor our fallen dead. And above all, we will remember their last full measure of devotion to this country. Abraham Lincoln ends his Gettysburg Address by saying that this nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. Thank you for being here today with me, and I thank you for having me. God bless our troops, and God bless America. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
That was my buddy, Donna Rowe. I don't know how many times we've shared patriotic stages, but this ain't the first. Thank you, Donna. We're going to get to From the Heart here in just a second, and I'd like to, and those of you that have been here before, you do understand what the From the Heart segment actually is. This is an open mic portion, just for short reflections from our veterans and those who appreciate them as time permits. This will be to the left of the stage. That's this way, okay, my left. Okay, this way, right here, got it. And then we'll have some special music and a few other presentations to make. God bless you all for being here today. Thank you very much, Captain Donna Rowe. The open mic section can begin now, I do believe. If those of you that would, please make your way to the front. Will you admit you?
Today I'd like to remember some of my buddies, our brothers, our sisters, and our sons and daughters. Not only just who's fighting currently in Iraq and Afghanistan, but the wars that nobody hears about. Today we have soldiers fighting in over 47 countries around the world that no one knows about, no one hears about. And I want to remember them as well. And the best way for me to do this is just with the words I've heard, and some of y'all have heard several times, the words of Ronald Reagan. When they gave up their lives, they gave up to two lives, the lives they were living and the ones they would have lived. They gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country and for us. And all we can do is remember. Thank you.
My name is Jack Thrift. Donna, God bless you again.
Thank you, Jack.
You're one of my heroes. I'm a veteran. I'm not a hero. I'm a veteran of the Korean War. In Korea, they didn't care if we went. They didn't know we were there. And most people did not care if we came back. That's called the Forgotten War. We can never. What happened in any war. And when they came back from Vietnam, our dear friends who came back from Vietnam, they were detested. But thank God that we have a military. Thank God, freedom is not free. It never has been, and it never will be. And I've said for several years, only God can save America in this wicked world. If we don't get back to God, we're going to lose it. And time is running out. So God bless America. God save America.
My name is Wes McCann. 2 Memorial Days ago, I was driving down to this Memorial Day ceremony, which I always do. I look forward to it every year. I was on Canton Street looking for a place to park. I received a phone call from my son. He was boarding an airplane, in fact, going up the boarding steps on an airplane on his way to Afghanistan. Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion, 121st Infantry, was deploying to Afghanistan. They are part of the Georgia National Guard, drills out of Lawrenceville. For the next year while he was deployed, this flag, the guidon for 2nd Battalion, Alpha Company, flew over our house. That was 2 years ago we started flying this flag. Last year, Alpha Company was home, back here in time for Memorial Day. But this year, my son is here. My son has no idea I'm going to do this, but he's an infantryman, and I want to pass on this flag to my son in just as a way of showing my appreciation to my son in honor of Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion, 121st Infantry of the Georgia National Guard, and also in memory of First Sergeant John Blair of Calhoun, and Sergeant Alec French of Milledgeville, 2 of my son Britton's fellow soldiers from Alpha Company that died while deployed. So with this, Britton, I'm very proud of you. I want you to have this flag for me.
My name is Ramona Mays, and I want to tell you about my grandfather, Ian McCrae. He was a veteran of World War I. He was a bugler. He ran away from home at age 17 and lied about his age, lied about his name, so Mama and Daddy couldn't find him. Growing up as a child, he taught me and the neighborhood kids the words to the different tunes he would play for mail call, taps, and reveille. And on important occasions, such as the end of World War II, he would take his bugle out on the porch and blow it and scare the neighbors to death. He lived to be 97, and even at 97, he could still blow his bugle.
I'm Bill Secreest, a Navy Korean vet. And firstly, I think the ladies' Roswell Garden Club did a great job in the hospitality room. The boys and Cub Scouts did a fantastic job. And I was told to read this next one, a very special thank you to a very patriotic friend of all of ours for his 12 straight years of devotion in emceeing this event, although he's certainly not plain vanilla, Moby. And I suggest that most of you attempt to go down in the holler and observe the Wall of Tears, and after reading the plaque on the left, some of you may need a tissue, and I bought a box that I will leave down there for those that may need it. And this next kind of special recognition, I was told if I was going to comment about it that I couldn't get up here, but I snuck up anyway. And lastly, let's all recognize a group of dedicated, patriotic ladies and gentlemen who for 14 years has organized this special event, Roswell Remembers. We salute you, Roswell Rotary Club.
My name is Carmelo Infantino. They call me Doc. I served with the 1st Platoon of Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, Vietnam, 1967-68. Our battalion was the battalion landing team. We were used as a wild card wherever a hole or support was needed, and we worked from Dong Ha, Con Thien, Rockpile, Camp Carroll, Quezon, Route 9, Quaviet River. In one 6-week period, we suffered 455 casualties. Captain Donna is well aware of what it looks like when it comes in. 407 decades ago, the people here represent more than all the Europeans that had come to this country. And for as diverse as the nations were, with long time chips on their shoulders amongst one another, unified, we have all become. And to touch upon what Captain Donna had to say about a child born in a country, a native, and she took it as priority because she knew in her heart of hearts it was right. This nation has grown to several hundred millions, and when we speak of our own losses in Vietnam, we lost 57,000, 58,000, 37,000 died from combat, another 11,000 from a variety of things, from heart attacks, accidents. The Vietnamese people, and as we have found amongst all the nations, somehow we all become friends. We go to war, and yet those people, as the generations grow, overcome the past, and they become friends. 3.4 million Vietnamese died during our time, and they still have over 200,000 missing in action. So for this being our Memorial Day, to truly consider the world, because we are world conscious now, we are a global community. The fighters that go, men, women, and sometimes their kids, fighting for their nation, true patriots. Some families have been raised in war since their birth, their parents' birth, their grandparents' birth. War is the epitome of mismanagement of the intelligence of man. But the common man in an uncommon situation, he shines because he's willing to sacrifice his life to save a small child, willing to sacrifice a career for a small child. I've said this every year. About 8-10 years ago, there was a special on PBS, and it was on Medal of Honor winners. Came to one man, minimum height, less than 100 pounds, glasses on so thick made his blue eyes fill up the whole lens. His ears were 2 to 3 times bigger than anybody you know, sticking off his head like a Volkswagen Bug with the doors open. And this very meek man in a soft voice with his hand resting on the Medal of Honor said, "I did not win this. I hold in trust, for I was left alive to speak of the honor and the courage of those men that are not here today. God bless. Thank you.
Bring to the stage a longtime friend of this event and of the city of Roswell. He will sing for us. This is Massey McKinley. Massey?
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, leaving so quick, I said, you stand there and take your bow, young man. Massey McKinley, yeah, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad you came. I want to let you know it costs money to put this on. Anytime you get 2 or 3 together, there will be a collection. You'll find helmets around you can put money in. Anybody that's got a shirt on like this, they'll take it. And today we welcome all denominations, 5s, 10s, 20s, you just put them in, and we'll be here again next year. Now, after the benediction, find a veteran, shake his or her hand. Let them know what we appreciate, their loyalty. The benediction, with your eyes wide open. We've gathered here. 29 countries cannot gather as we gather. Don't lose it. Use it. Go out and vote. Get involved in the community and be a better people. And everybody said, amen.
America. Catherine. None of our singers wanted to stay and let you clap, did you notice? If Catherine had stood up here, you'd still be clapping. Oh boy, hadn't this been a wonderful event today? I mean, really, have you enjoyed today? God bless America. Have we enjoyed this great patriotic event? And we can gather together once a year on the grounds of City Hall. Thank you very much, Mayor, and pledge our allegiance to this flag and to this nation. Wow, it's wonderful. Before we thank the sponsors, and that's very, very important, I'll tell you a story very, very quickly that will have to do with the Roswell Memorial Day event here from a few years ago when General Paul Tibbets, pilot of the Enola Gay, 6 August 45. When General Tibbets was here, I picked up something that looked like this. And I said, General, would you come to the podium? We got a little something for you. And General Tibbets, God bless him, man. This was Paul Tibbets. He walked up here and says, well, because he was a little feller in stature. General Tibbets said, well, when a boy that size picks up a brick and says, I got something for you, you don't really know what to expect. And I love telling that story. So, Captain Rowe, if you would please make your way to the podium. We got something for you. And as tough as you are, I swear to God, I'm not going to hit you with it. This is a brick that has been already placed in place out here by the memorial. If you walk around with Al sometime, you'll see that there is a Captain Donna C. Rowe, Army Nurse Corps, Vietnam, 68 to 69, in that display out there, and you take that with you.
I love bricks. I've got something I'd like to give to someone who got me to do this. Come up here and be with y'all. David? Us Army nurses tend to be kind of a testy bunch. We were the first women to ever have a memorial named in our honor in the nation's capital, and we fought real hard for that. So in our tradition, we only give our pin to those people that we highly admire. And as I've gone along the way, I've only given out a few of these. So David, for what you do for your community and for keeping the spirit of the American military alive in Roswell, I want to give you the Army Nurse Memorial Pin. I've pinned a lot of men, but he's one of the cutest. Thank you for the brick.
We told her Thursday we loved women in boots, and I think she's our favorite now.
Before we do thank the sponsors and excuse everybody, let me again remind you, as I did right before we started here today, that Officer Zach Frommer of the Roswell Police Department SWAT team and Officer Jamie Major, also from Roswell PD, are gathering supplies to take to Joplin, Missouri. And if we have all seen the devastation there, and this good city will take care of them, and these officers are going to bear our banner to public safety families in Joplin, Missouri. Their goal is to have enough donated items to care for all the first responders over there, the people in public safety, with plenty left over for the civilians that are there. They're also slow to get help. These officers, and again, Frommer, Major, where are you? I know you're out there somewhere near the memorial. There they are, to my left of the memorial. They have these one sheets that have the listing of not only where the drop-off stations are, but also 3 columns of everything that is needed. They will be leaving at first light on Wednesday morning, so by the end of the day tomorrow, all the donations from the city of Roswell, from you good people, need to be in the hands of these people that are loading the trucks and heading over. That's Roswell Fire Station 1002, that's right over here actually, and also way on the other side of 400, there's a Waffle House, there's a U-Haul rather behind that Waffle House, and they're also it's by Horseshoe Bend, they are also a drop-off point. So again, Frommer and Major down there. let's thank our sponsors very quickly, because God knows, like Malone was saying, above and beyond the contributions you'll make today out of your pocket, the sponsors are wonderful. We could not do this program without their support. Carl Black, Bank of North Georgia, North Fulton Hospital. In the back, please visit the Marine Parents Support Organization, which invites you to participate in Operation PAL. They are, their prayers and letters going directly to the troops. Under the long white tent is Slopes Barbecue. And y'all are invited to stay and eat. There's going to be music playing all afternoon long. God bless you, each and every one. Thank you, City of Roswell. We'll see you again here next year. God bless America. Goodbye.